Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MJ Innocent podcast. I'm your host, Moonwalker Tanya. All right, so, man, do we have a lot of updates to talk about. All right, so, first I want to say that Paris Jackson has been having a lot of concerns regarding the estate, regarding payments. I need to do a little bit more research before I can talk about that, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I recently found out about that. As far as the trial between the estate and the two greedy losers, now originally the trial was set for November 2026. Well, earlier this week, the plaintiff's attorneys, the estate legal team, and the appointed discovery referee all agreed to extend all discovery deadlines for at least 6 months. So this basically means that the next potential deadline is February 10th, 2027. Now, on July 11th, which was last Friday, there was supposed to be a conference where the judge would make his decision if he would approve this extension or not. I've been trying to look at different sources to see if there are any updates regarding that. I haven't seen anything regarding a decision or an update if the judge approved it. But if the judge approved it, then that means the potential trial will be pushed to spring 2027 at the earliest. And it is frustrating just because I want this trial to begin so that Wade and James can be tortured and ripped apart, and hopefully they can never appeal again. Because I know they're not going to last against Tom Mesereau and Susan Yu. So anyway, apparently the reason why this extension was requested was because apparently on both sides there were scheduling challenges. Now, when I read that, obviously it had to deal with the lawyers regarding both sides, because I mean, it's not like Wade and James had to work, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, when Wade and James get a job, that's when Adrian McManus will be a skinny person. That's never gonna happen. All right, so anyway, yeah. So I guess whenever I do find out when the next date of the possibility of the trial beginning, I'll let you guys know. It is frustrating. I would say the only positive that would come out of it is that at least the biopic will not be in theaters the same year that trial is going to begin. But that's really the only positive I can see out of it. Because like I said, I want this to be over with. I want Wade and James to be, they need to be humiliated, destroyed in court, and they can never appeal again, and they'll have to grow a pair and get a job. I mean, Wade and James, we all know that you two are failures. But you have to realize that even though Michael gave you great gifts, went on vacations together, that you attended his concerts, went to Neverland and all this other stuff, did you really think that stuff was going to last forever? It is not Michael's fault that you two are failures. You both did not work on your craft. You just counted on your connection to Michael. And that doesn't work. But of course, if you guys remember, there was a video I made last year that was called "The Estate is Being Threatened." Well, I have a little bit of an update. This was something that I was informed about based on what other fans were telling me. But I wanted to wait until there was an official announcement by the estate. So, back in the fall of last year, I talked about how there was a person who was threatening to go public with false allegations unless the estate paid them a lot of money. The name has been revealed, and it is Frank Casio. Now, when I read the article about this accuser back in the fall, they mentioned some quotes from this individual's book. And like I've mentioned before, I don't own a lot of Michael Jackson books because of two reasons. One, I wonder if it's factual. And number two, I didn't want to own a book from somebody who could possibly backstab Michael in the future. And so I do not have Frank Casio's book. I don't have Shauna's book. I'm trying to think. But basically whenever I look at a Michael Jackson book, I'm always like, who's the author? Are they trustworthy? Are they credible? All this other stuff. So, when I showed the article to a few people, they were like, that's from Frank Casio's book. And I was like, oh, really? And that's unfortunate. Because a lot of fans thought that Frank Casio was not just loyal to Michael, but like a member of Michael's family in a way. Well, apparently Frank Casio has run into a lot of debt. Like when Wade and James flipped their stories too. But it's not about the money, right? Despite the fact that Wade and James are going after $1.5 billion, and Frank Casio said to the estate, either pay me $213 million or I'm going public with false allegations. But it's not about money, right? Even though Dan Reed literally said in an interview that it is all about the money. Stupid. Oh, and speaking of money, I saw the results of the poll that I had on the community tab. I want to say, let's see, I think the last time I checked there were 86 voters. Let me check real quick. Okay, so the question was, if you knew your child was molested, which case would you pursue? And you only had two choices, the criminal case or the civil case. Okay, so it looks like 88, I think. So based on the math, that means that 84 of you voted for the criminal case, which is the correct answer, while 4 stupid individuals voted for the civil case. Now, if these 4 individuals are the people who I think they are, Well, I know at least 2 of them do not have kids. They don't deserve to have kids. And to the other 2 individuals, unless all 4 of them are just plain people that I don't know, they're just stupid. If you do have kids, then you shouldn't have custody of them because you clearly do not have their best interest at heart. And here's another thing to consider. So if you're going to pursue a civil case over the criminal case, so does that mean that if your child says they were molested, does that mean that you're going to wait until the accused is dead? Because if you recall, to anyone who hasn't done research, the 94 settlement was the reason why the law was changed and the criminal case has to go first. So if you were going to file a lawsuit against the accused when they're still alive, you would have to go through the criminal case first. There's no way around it. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. You would be like, Tanya, the kids did not make up the allegations against Michael. Their parents did. I know. I was just saying that just to give a different example. Because real victims don't go after money. But let's say by some stupid miracle that you go through the criminal case and you win the criminal case and you win the civil case, okay? You do realize the money's not going to go to you, right? Because, Evan Chandler was expecting to receive the settlement because his son was a minor at the time. But nope. Most of the settlement went to Jordan. And Evan Chandler was not happy about that. He was furious about it, actually. And to any dumb haters, because you don't do your homework, Evan Chandler actually tried to sue Jordan for the settlement. When that didn't work, he attempted to kill Jordan in order to receive the settlement as an inheritance. So to the 4 dumb individuals who voted for civil case, are you telling me that you would either wait for the accused to die, or if you were forced to go through the criminal case and then the civil case, and your kid gets the money, are you going to try to sue your kid for the settlement? Or are you going to try to kill your child in order to receive the settlement? Because I'm telling you right now, the money would not go to you. But that's basically what I have to say about that. If you're going to pick the civil case over the criminal case, I don't care if the accused is alive or dead. If you're going to go after the civil case, then you do not give a damn about your child. And there's no other way to explain it. Because some people may say, oh, well, they were afraid, or they loved Michael so much they were afraid to come forward. That's bullcrap. Every single one of these kids had multiple opportunities to say something. Tom Sneddon had a hotline where you could anonymously come forward. There was the 93 case, the 05 case. Corey Feldman hasn't had a chance to receive justice when he's a real survivor. Not by Michael. I had to add that in there, of course. But then you have these morons like Robson and Safechuck and Evan Chandler, Janet Arvizo, the Francia family, and Adrian McManus, and now Frank Casio. All these stupid people who are lying on Michael to receive money. I know I've said this many times before, and I'm going to keep saying it, and something needs to change. There needs to be a law in the U.S. to protect the dead so that Michael can have a voice. To Wade, James, and Frank Casio, you 3 losers had every opportunity since the 90s to come forward, but you wait until Michael is dead to do this. Shame on all three of you. I know death sucks, but you three are adults now. Grow a pair and get a job. And to you, Frank Casio, I mean, first you write a book, then you try to sell fake tracks on the Michael album, but when you're running into debt, you decide to backstab Michael like that. When just like Wade, you stood on the stand under oath and said that Michael never did anything to you. Never did anything inappropriate. And you literally said in an interview that if Michael ever laid a finger on you, you would not be sitting in that chair talking at that moment. And you know, some people have been telling me that I should stop talking about the allegations. I'm telling you right now, that is not going to happen. Because these morons and the tabloids, the media, and the haters, they are why this channel exists. If the haters are not going to stop talking about the allegations with their one-sided bullcrap, then I'm not going to stop defending Michael on this two-sided channel. I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Defending Michael Jackson is what I love to do. I've researched this case so hard, and I have the passion and the ability to deal with whoever tries to throw something at me. I have trusted supporters. I have great moderators, Teresa, Joey, Brantley, and Christy. And I know I'm not alone in this. Because when Michael isn't here to defend himself, somebody has to be there for him. And like I said before, this is why I don't believe in civil cases. Unless it's at a certain amount. Like, for example, if you were a real survivor, you don't need 1.5 billion. You don't need 213 million. You know, like, say for example, if Wade and James, you know, like how when Wade and James said that their lawsuit isn't about money, which is bullcrap. Well, let's say if they were suing for $2, like $1 per guy, okay? Then I'd be like, okay, it's not about the money. But when you say it's not about money, but you're suing for a gigantic amount of money, you expect me to believe that? Not to mention the inconsistencies. Oh, and here's a big one. So, Frank Casio, if you decide to come forward with these false allegations that you'll make up, are you going to take a polygraph test? Or are you going to refuse to take one like Wade and James did? In my opinion, I know some people might have different opinions about this, but I personally believe that if you are going to wait until you're accused, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Sorry. If you're going to wait until the person you are alleging abused you is dead to come forward, then you should be forced, not requested, but forced to take a polygraph test before you can even try to file a case or even go public. Because it is not fair to the person who isn't here to defend himself or herself. It's frustrating. But you know, that's why this channel exists. I want to defend Michael, and I also make non-allegation videos to represent his legacy. The allegations do not represent his legacy And I do believe that defending Michael does help his legacy. Because somebody has to do it. And I don't fully trust the estate. They've actually lost a lot of my trust over the years. So, that's basically what I have to say about this. Obviously, a lot of stuff has been going on over the past few days. And I will keep you guys updated as I find out more information. I want to say thank you to my sources for the information I provided to you today. Let's see. The information regarding the trial extension and the thing with Frank Casio, I want to say thank you to MJE Facts on Instagram and mjvibe.com. And I also want to say thank you to my moderator, Teresa, for sending me that information. All right. So let me know what you guys think about this, and I will see you in the comments.